Why are you waiting for an explanation that will never come? Searching for a final conversation that will never happen, and begging for a closure that someone else has already decided you cannot have. The first and most brutal rule of emotional survival is simple. Stop chasing closure, because you do not need an explanation to move on. We trap ourselves in a state of emotional paralysis because we believe a lie. We tell ourselves that if we just understood why they left, why they lied, or why they changed, the pain would suddenly evaporate. This is a psychological trap. Peace does not come from getting answers from people who lack the maturity to give them to you. Peace comes from the radical acceptance of what is outside your control. Marcus Aurelius did not write his private journals to reform the Roman Empire. He wrote them to survive his own mind. He reminded himself that you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. When you demand an apology or an explanation before you allow yourself to heal, you are voluntarily handing the keys to your mental freedom back to the person who locked you in this cage. Think about the sheer madness of that dynamic. You are letting the person who broke your peace decide when you get it back. That is not a path to healing. That is psychological submission. Every single minute you spend refreshing a profile, checking a status, or replaying a conversation in your head is a minute you spend actively choosing your own destruction. You are drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. Seneca once observed that we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. The actual event of loss happened once. It lasted a day, a week, a month, but your mind has repeated that loss 10,000 times. You are renewing the contract of your own misery every single morning. But here is the dark twist that most people never realize until it is far too late, and it's something we'll dissect shortly. The terrifying truth about why you are actually mourning, because it has absolutely nothing to do with the person you think you miss. Consider Epictetus. He was born a slave. He understood real physical captivity. Yet his entire philosophy was built on a single, unwavering line of demarcation, the dichotomy of control. Some things are up to us, and some things are not up to us. The actions of another person, their thoughts, their betrayals, their silence, and their departures fall squarely into the category of things that are completely outside your control. When you obsess over their silence, you are attempting to colonize a territory you do not own. You are trying to control the uncontrollable, and the predictable result is psychological torment. Let us introduce some friction into your current perspective. You claim you want closure. You tell your friends that you just want a final coffee, one last phone call, or a brief text to wrap things up neatly. Let me be entirely honest with you. You do not want closure. You want a loophole. You want one more hit of the drug. You want an excuse to look into their eyes or hear their voice, because you are terrified of the cold reality of the vacuum. You are bargaining with reality, hoping that a final conversation might somehow rewrite the ending. It will not. If they had the capacity to give you the maturity and honesty you deserve, they wouldn't have left you in pieces in the first place. Expecting a toxic or emotionally unavailable person to give you a healthy ending is like going to a hardware store looking for milk. They do not have it to give. Stop asking them for it. This brings us to the second pillar of this survival protocol, and it is the realization that will break your illusion entirely. You are not missing the person, you are missing the story you created about them. Look closely at the grief you are carrying. Strip away the nostalgia, strip away the lonely nights, and look at the raw data. You are not crying over a flesh and blood human being with flaws, bad habits, and selfish tendencies. You are crying over a fictional character. You are mourning the future you imagined with them. You are missing the summer trips you planned, the house you mapped out, the growing old together, and the emotional narrative you built in your own mind. They did not break your future. They broke a fantasy. The Stoics call this objective looking. Marcus Aurelius used to strip the luxury away from things to see them for what they truly were. He would look at a lavish purple robe and remind himself that it was just sheep hair dyed in the blood of a shellfish. He would look at a feast and see dead animals and fermented grapes. You need to apply this exact same cold, objective lens to your grief. That person was not your savior. They were not your final destination. They were a regular, flawed human being who chose to walk a different path. The grand, cinematic love story you were mourning was written entirely by your own imagination. They did not co-author it. You did. And because you wrote it, you have the power to close the book. If this heavy, unvarnished look into human nature is striking a nerve, subscribe to this channel right now. We do not offer comfort here. We offer mental survival. If you are ready to stop coddling your own weakness, join us. Let us push deeper into the mechanism of your attachment. Why do we cling so desperately to these stories? Because human beings are terrified of the void. We would rather stay attached to a painful, agonizing memory than confront the empty canvas of an uncertain tomorrow. We choose the familiar hell over the unfamiliar heaven. But Stoicism demands that you face the void with your chin up. Pain is inevitable in a chaotic, unpredictable universe. Suffering, however, is entirely optional. When someone walks out of your life, that is pain. It is a biological reaction. Your brain processes rejection in the exact same zones where it processes physical injury. Your chest hurts, your stomach drops, and your sleep vanishes. That is natural. The Stoics never told anyone to be an unfeeling rock. They acknowledged the initial shockwave of grief. But what happens next is entirely your responsibility. If you take that initial pain and you wrap it in a narrative of eternal loneliness, if you tell yourself that you will never find anyone else, if you spend your afternoons scrolling through old photos and dissecting the syntax of a text message from 8 months ago, you have crossed the line from pain into self-inflicted suffering. You are now the architect of your own torture. You must learn to separate the event from the judgment. This is the core teaching of Epictetus. Men are disturbed not by things, but by the view which they take of them. The event is simple. A relationship ended. That is a neutral fact of life. People change, dynamics shift, and contracts terminate. The judgment is what destroys you. This ended, therefore I am unlovable. My life is ruined and I will be alone forever. Change the judgment and the suffering disappears. Look at your hands right now. Look at the room around you. You are completely safe. The only place where this person still has power over you is inside the theater of your own memory. You are running a movie projection of a ghost and you are sitting in the front row crying at the screen. Turn off the projector. Walk out of the theater. The doors are not locked. You are the one refusing to stand up. Consider the concept of Amor Fati, the love of one's fate. It is not just the passive tolerance of bad things. It is the active, aggressive embrace of whatever happens. When someone removes themselves from your life, a Stoic does not merely say, well, that's a shame. A Stoic says, thank you for making room for what is next. Thank you for removing your energy from my space so I can redirect it toward my own growth. Thank you for showing me exactly who you are before I wasted another year of my finite life on a dead end. We treat people leaving us as an indictment of our value. It is actually an optimization of our time. Every person who leaves you is simply filtering themselves out of your future. They are doing the hard work of house cleaning for you. Let them go. Do not chase them down the driveway. Do not send the long text message explaining how much they hurt you. Silence is the ultimate luxury of the self-possessed mind. Silence is not weakness. It is the ultimate realization that your words are too valuable to be wasted on someone who has already tuned you out. Let us confront the ego spike here. You want them to regret it. You want them to realize what they lost. You want them to lie awake at night feeling the exact same crushing weight that you are feeling right now. That desire is natural, but it is small. It is the ego begging for validation. A truly free mind does not care if they regret it. A truly free mind has moved so far past the horizon that the opinions and regrets of past players are completely irrelevant. Marcus Aurelius said that the best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. The ultimate revenge is not your success story posted on social media for them to see. The ultimate revenge is total, absolute indifference. It is reaching a point where their name spoken in a crowded room triggers absolutely no chemical reaction in your body. To get there, you have to stop inspecting the wound. If you cut your arm, you do not peel the scab back every single morning to see if it is still bleeding. If you do, it will infect, it will scar, and it will never heal. Yet you do this with your emotional wounds every single day. You check their mutual friends, you ask around about them, and you look at old gifts. You are picking at the scab and wondering why you are still bleeding. Leave it alone. Let the dead past bury its dead. You have a limited number of days on this earth. The clock is ticking down right now as you listen to this. Seneca wrote extensively about the shortness of life. He argued that we are not given a short life, but we make it short by wasting it on things that do not matter. Think about the massive chunks of time you have sacrificed to the memory of someone who is currently eating dinner, laughing with friends, and sleeping soundly without a single thought of you. You are trading your irreplaceable finite life units for a phantom. That is a terrible business deal. You are bankrupting your present for a past that cannot be recovered. Reclaim your currency. Gather your scattered attention and pull it back into your own perimeter. This day demands your focus. Your health demands your focus. Your duties, your ambitions, and your self-respect are waiting for you to show up. When you leave this video, do not go back to the routine of sorrow. Block the accounts. Delete the number. Throw away the physical anchors that tie you to a ghost story. Not out of anger, not out of malice, but out of an aggressive commitment to your own survival. You are clearing the wreckage from the runway so you can finally take off. The next time your mind tries to drag you back into the labyrinth of why they left or what you could have done differently, repeat the words that have sustained leaders, slaves, and emperors through the worst trials of human history. This is outside my control. My peace is inside my control. It is over. Therefore, it is exactly as it should be. Stand up, look forward, and step out of the theater. The movie is over. Your life is waiting outside.